Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading Corporation, and you are tuned into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash, and we are so glad that you are. I have with me my co-host, Chris Agelastos, here today. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well, getting ready for the 4th of July holiday.
Yeah, well, you're back in Phoenix, where I think it's, 110 today, maybe?
And I mean, that's if we're lucky, otherwise maybe 12 or 13. We'll see.
Well, I don't want to make you feel bad. I'm currently in Montana, where it's about, I think, 70 at the moment. So sorry for
Mm,
that, but I'm very happy for myself at this point.
I strongly dislike you.
I know that's not true, actually. Well, let's get into more important things. Who wants to talk about the doggone weather?
Right.
Okay, we're in the banks this week. The Daily Huddle here. FDIC warns. What is this, Chris? $12.5 billion. Is that right? Yeah, $12.5
Yeah.
billion epidemic of scammers impersonating bank employees, draining customers' accounts. Now, we've seen a lot of this. We covered a lot of this actually last year, and I mean, it's the numbers that come out or that we're hearing about and have been talking about. They're staggering. I mean, $12.5 billion
Yeah.
worth of losses, and that was in 2024. I mean, this is a problem. It's a
Yep.
major problem, and also in so much as that the way technology is and the way these scammers, if you will, are allowed to present themselves as these impersonators. Uh, Again, due to digital technology, et cetera, they are coming across as though they are, employees of the banks.
Right.
And what's frightening about that, I mean, how would you know? This isn't 30 years ago when you had like a personal banker that you would talk to. I mean, anymore, you call your bank, you may be talking to somebody in India, you may be talking to maybe somebody locally, but it's
Yeah.
very difficult to know who you're talking to, excuse me.
Hmm.
And when they know these scammers, they know exactly what they're doing, and it's why wouldn't people fall for this? So it's a problem, clearly. Tons of people losing money here, and when you're talking $12.5 billion, what can people do to protect themselves against this, Chris? Or is there anything they can do?
Yeah, you most certainly can. The first thing they tell you is anytime you get a call or a text message or an email that is concerning, and it seems like maybe it could be fishy, or even if not, maybe everything seems on the up and up, but you're not certain. What you need to do is contact your bank directly, using a phone number that you know, not the phone number that they provide you in the email or the text message, which could dial the scammer directly so they can just continue to fool you. So they usually recommend looking at the back of your debit card or your credit card and calling the 800 number that's listed there, or going to the bank's website and calling their a local branch number, or a toll-free customer service number directly. And if it is a legitimate concern, which I'm thinking 9 times out of 10 it isn't, then the banks will know about it, right? If you're contacting them directly. So that's probably the biggest thing you can do to protect yourself. But it is hard, and I mean, I've almost fallen for some of these things. Not completely down the path, but I've gotten messages before where I wasn't sure about it, and my initial thought was, oh gosh, I wonder what this is. Maybe I should reply, or see what this is all about. And then I remember, because of stories like this, that wait a minute, the banks almost never contact you that way. So you do have to really be careful. And what kind of hit me, we throw around the number billions a lot lately. The dollar's lost a lot
Right.
of value. We do talk about Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, and these guys that are worth hundreds of billions, but $12.5 billion, when you're talking about people getting scammed out of 5, 10, 20, $50,000 at a time, that's a lot of people being affected. This isn't one billionaire that fell for this scam and lost 10 or 12 billion last year. It's a lot of people that this is happening to, in smaller dollar amounts. And when I say smaller, stuff that maybe won't make the evening news, but if think about it. I mean, if the average person, had a few $1,000s or five or $10,000 drained out of their account, that could be their entire savings or emergency fund if they're lucky enough to even have one these days. So
Right.
it is a big deal, and you really need to be cautious. Anytime you're scared because you got a text, you're worried or concerned that something happened with your bank account, contact the bank directly.
Right. Well, and that's great advice, and that's that's 100% what people should do. And the only challenge with that as well, typically speaking, when you contact your bank, it's sometimes not the easiest to get through to someone right away. And these scammers
Yeah.
are good. I mean, let's be honest. They know what they're doing. They've got their drill down. And bottom line is, it's people just need to, like you said, be aware. And in fact, in the article, they talk about how Zelle alone, people lost like $320 million through Zelle. And what's interesting about that, I was with a friend of mine actually yesterday, and I had to Zelle somebody who had done some work for me at my house, and we had this very conversation. I'm like, I don't know how people get scammed on Zelle, because like they're very like you're trying to send money. I know who I'm sending money to, and they two times they ask, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do it? But again, scammers are scammers for a reason, and they will be able to talk people into doing what they need to do. And let's get into, actually, it's funny you say that these are not just billionaire. It's not like a billionaire just had all their money taken. These are a lot of people who've had whatever varying amounts taken from them. In this next article here, very tragic, a disabled person who through Wells Fargo had a little over $6,800 drained from their account. And what's really interesting about this one, the scammer actually showed up at their house, showed up at the person's house at their door,
Yeah.
and cut up the bank card that the person had, and was still able to go in there and get the money out. So like, it just shows and speaks to me anyways, the lengths that these scammers will go to in order to gain access to people and their money. But they're, just like you said, I'll let you talk about this, Chris, and give me your
Hmm.
2 cents on it. But I think this would have been a great time for the individual to call their bank, because, well, tell
Right.
us about this article. Tell us what happened and
Well,
what
what
your thoughts are.
Yeah, what made it a little harder in this case too is that the person that called him and was pretending to be a bank employee had some of his banking details. So things like they didn't get into all the specifics, but probably information that was on a statement. So maybe he had thrown out a statement and somebody had fished it out of the trash and then contacted him. And so uh, even though he was somewhat cautious, because this person had some very specific details about his account, again, he assumed it really was the bank when in fact it wasn't. And so that's, their scammers are very good at using little bits of information that are true to get you to reveal things that you shouldn't. It's we hear it a lot of times referred to as social engineering now, where people will use their charm and a couple of details to maybe get past some of your red flags, and all of a sudden you're exposing some sensitive info. So, and this person used the fact also that the individual was disabled to say, well, we can come to you. Don't worry, we can come to you. We will collect your card, destroy it. So they had him cut up the card, which again, in the person's head, they're probably thinking, well, I'm cutting up the card, so it's not going to be worth anything now. It's not going to work. They took it with them, but what was still intact is the microchip on the card. A lot of these cards now have tap to pay, where you just touch your card up to the payment kiosk, and electronically it's approved and funds are transferred. So this person even told him to go to the bank, to make sure he goes back to the bank the next day and requests a new card. But in that less than 24-hour period of time, that was all they needed to drain the almost $7,000 quickly out of his account. And Wells Fargo was the bank in this instance, and they told him that they aren't going to reimburse it. Now he's trying to fight that. Some consumer protection agencies are trying to fight that. So hopefully this is going to make enough headlines where the bank will do the right thing. But their point was you basically gave someone your card, gave them your PIN number and your information, and they used that information. That's not our fault. And so it is interesting here to see, as this things like this continue to happen more and more, how the court system mediates these things out to figure out who really is responsible. If you give someone the combination to your safe, and you let them walk in and take your money out of your safe, is it whose fault is it?
Right.
And
Right.
and that's sort of what happened here. So hopefully they'll do the right thing and protect the consumers. But as you know, usually the banks have to be strong armed into something like that.
Well, and look, the banks have given plenty of ammunition in terms of, what we need to be critical of them. However, in this case, as tragic as it is, I don't really see or hold the bank responsible in this case, because you're absolutely right. I mean, how are they going to be responsible? Why should they be responsible for, someone coming in and giving their money away to someone, basically, or giving their passcode away? And
Yeah.
if they just make good on everyone who does that, where does that stop? Where does it end? So,
Right.
well, this is why it's called the Secret War on Cash. And this is for those of you tuning in. If you'd like to get a free copy of your report on the Secret War on Cash, you can do so by contacting our office at 1-800-289-2646. You can call in and request it, or you can actually text that number, 1-800-289-2646, and request it as well. And you can also visit us online at www.swissamerica.com. That's SWISS America, all one word, .com. If you haven't received that copy, I strongly encourage you to do so. And or if you want to get some information on how to diversify your holdings, get your monies into some tangible assets that can't be siphoned out of your account through the wrong passcode or through some nefarious scammers out there. So thank you, Chris. We'll be talking, I'm sure, more about banks here in the upcoming future. And until then, have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Yep. Take care.